marks of these discussions. And I'm thinking that what you need is a tame lawyer, some very strong champions, and some very strong networks to go forward from now. And I'll expand a little bit on those as we talk. So there's huge problems with process. I don't think I've seen this kind of process, but in this situation with this such a serious issue, I'm appalled, really, at what's happening. When I was back in Ottawa, we used to call these dog and pony shows. So you put a dog and pony show on, and you go around to a few different communities, and you bring out the trick dogs, and you have the ponies, and you have some charrettes, and you have some table discussion, and you bury everybody in numbers, and you bury everybody in the mutate, and you call that process. I was talking to some people around the process, and I said, well, first of all, it was suggested that I maybe come and participate in this meeting on April 10th, and the response to that was no. And so then I said, well, maybe we could have a meeting before the April 10th meeting, and then people can get informed, and then when they go to the April 10th meeting, they'll have a little bit more traction to have the discussion. And so we set it up for that. I was coming now, and the meeting was going to be next week. And all of a sudden, that meeting is canceled. And it's moved to June. And so I said to this person, well, so in June, you're going to have your draft report ready to go to government in the fall. You're going to be considering your draft report. Yes. Well, how will you get the input of the community of Nakusp into that draft report if you don't meet with them before you put that draft report together? Oh, well, we've got lots of input. There's been lots of input. Well, you had a meeting scheduled, and then you canceled the meeting. Well, they can always phone in or write in. And I said, that's not at all, you need town hall discussions. On this kind of an important issue, the community needs to come together. You need to come together as a community. You need to look at each other in the eyes. You need to ask questions. You need to form positions as a community, not as somebody writing an email. And who hears the response to that email? And if you say something in an email that's really important, do you hear it? No, it's lost to you. So that's not a dialogue with the community. I think this has become a compensation and mitigation game. We've got a little bit of money here. Who wants a little bit of money? Oh, well, we'll give you a little bit of money. We'll give you a little bit of money. Well, maybe we can tweak these reservoir levels. Well, maybe we can solve some operational problems. Well, we'll give you a little bit of money, and you have some money. And that seems to be what's driving the process. I suggest the government has its mind made up on what it wants to do with this. Oh. And I'm going to... Well, I guess I should go to my next slide. Another elephant. I love elephants. Another elephant in the room. I asked this person, so what about SILTUP? And they said, what? And I said, SILTUP, SILTUP, the silting up of dams. Oh, you mean infill? Well, no one's even raised that. No one has even raised that. What does that tell you?
Time to start.
I said, so where would we find this information out? Where is there some, has this been looked at? Because even the treaty contemplated if the dams are still operational in 60 years. And I'm going to show you some stuff that's happening in the United States that suggests SILTUP is a huge issue. Are you going to get into bed with the Americans for another 30 or 60 years with dams that are not, I said, what about SILTUP? And the answer was, oh, these are good for thousands of years. This person, very seniorly placed, said they're good for thousands of years. This is a very senior person. Thousands of years is ridiculous. Ridiculous. This is very, very important, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. think there's only two options. It's renegotiation or termination. So let's talk a little bit about that. And, oh, this was why that slide was supposed to come out because I brought in the other, excuse me. So, a whole big problem with renegotiation, starting with the attitude of the Americans. I asked this person, so I understood that BCP, Bonneville Power Corporation, anyway, said at a meeting, well, don't get too excited about these downstream benefits because the ones in the future are going to be cut back by 90%. I said, is that true? And I was told yes, and I was given a paper for the reasons behind that from Bonneville Power. You've seen the previous slides in this, I mean, it's very typical that this would be the Americans' opening position. The question is, do we have a strong enough position to counter that? Are our negotiators robust and like bulldogs on this with all the information in their quiver ready to go, no, 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 no? I don't think so. The other one is equity. We have an outstanding debt to BC farmers and communities from these dams, 60 years of these dams. There are a lot of operational issues to deal with. There's one of these reports that I think has 80 issues from the November thing that are, again, life expectancy, we don't know. And so I think I'm going to touch on this later on, but you know, the Americans have the right to use the water as hydro. This deal was supposed to be about hydro, but their usage is silent as to what they're going to use it for. They can use it for hydro, they can use it for habitat, they can use it for recreation, water spilling over the Grand Coulee Dam for tourist shows at night. They can use it for power, and each of those uses has a very different value. Back in '94, when I did that study, the use of water for power was estimated between $35 and $60 an acre foot, and the use of water for irrigation was $2,000 an acre foot. So if you're sitting there with a switch, you can always buy power from the grid if there's that much of a differential. Do you really care about, I mean, a lot of it you're going to be using for power, but if you've got that much and there's that much differential, where's that water going to go? And how much are we paid for it? We're paid for it on the lowest use. This is like selling your house based on the square footage of your kitchen. You know, there's all sorts of other benefits that water's being used for, and we're not paid for it. We're not being paid for it. That's a very serious problem if we're looking at a renegotiation strategy that has to be addressed. They have to pay for the usage that they're putting that water to.